Jordan Poole is one of the brightest stars in basketball with his razzle-dazzle display and production that helped the Golden State Warriors win a title in 2022. But Poole hasn't played up to his standards since his trade to the Washington Wizards and has had an underwhelming season. He's shooting his worst percentages from the field since his rookie season. He recently got benched on a 9-win team, and something just clearly isn't right. In this video, we'll look into the talent Jordan Poole has shown to be, why Jordan Poole is currently struggling in Washington, and whether he can regain the form he once showed in Golden State. Before we begin, be sure to leave a like on the video, as each like makes a tremendous difference for the channel, and be sure to sub to the channel for even more content like this. From a horrid start as a rookie to having multiple G League stints to eventually being a key piece on a title team, Jordan Poole's story was a remarkable one that helped mold him to the 20 points per game scorer he was in 2023. Because of the creativity of his ball handling, finishes, and overall offensive arsenal, Poole continued to master his craft as an efficient offensive option that many people even compared to Stephen Curry. In the Warriors' route to the 2022 NBA Finals, Jordan Poole was pivotal in each step of the way. He averaged 21 points and 5 assists on 55% from the field and 48% from 3 against the Denver Nuggets, 4-4 on 47% from the field against the Memphis Grizzlies, and 16 points on 64% from the field in the Western Conference Finals. For all of his hard work and progression, it only made sense for the Dubs to grant him a $140 million extension and keep him in the Bay. But before the 2023 season, the Draymond Green incident, among many other factors, complicated what would be a mixed bag of a season for the Golden State Warriors. Personally, Jordan Poole would put up career highs in both points and assists, and when Steph Curry missed extended time due to injury, JP was practically unstoppable through those 26 games. However, with Steph coming back and with Poole's role consequently shifting, there were frustrations and growing pains from time to time. Not only that, the 2023 playoffs would be very underwhelming for Poole, averaging just 10 points and 4 assists on 34% from the field and 25% from 3. Due to the ramifications of the new CBA, Poole's play, and the awkwardness surrounding the team due to the Draymond situation, JP's time in the Bay ultimately came to an end when the Dubs dealt him to the Washington Wizards for CP3. This was Poole's time to show the world just how good he was. He literally just averaged 20 points per game in a year when he was surrounded by Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Andrew Wiggins, averaged 26 points in Steph's absence, and was going to a rebuilding team. He definitely was going to average around 23 to 25 points per game. But he hasn't with the Wizards, and he's actually posting up the lowest points per game since his sophomore season. He's averaging just 16 points per game and is doing that on just 39.6% from the field and 30.4% from 3 on almost 7 attempts a game. He's shooting just 31% from mid-range on 121 attempts on the season, shooting less than 32% on left and right corner threes, and only 30% on above the break threes on 304 attempts on the season. Even on catch and shoot threes, he's shooting just 33% on 3.5 attempts a game. Additionally, his performance in February pretty much summarizes his Washington Wizards tenure thus far. Starting the month shooting 6 for 21 in a loss against Miami Heat, only making a single field goal the following game against the Phoenix Suns, and going literally scoreless in the next game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So what exactly happened here? Well, he's now tasked with being the number 1 option and creator on a team that's bottom 3 in three-point shooting, void of great offensive threats, and lacks overall offensive creativity in the system, when he was the third or fourth option in Golden State, did more off-ball work, and was surrounded by Stephen Curry, better spacing, a free-flowing offense, and some of the smartest basketball minds in the business. With high usage, Poole obviously has to prove his value offensively, since we know he's not an outstanding defender. However, that simply hasn't been the case, with his aforementioned shooting struggles combined with the fact that he's just in the 25th percentile in isolation scoring, shooting just 35% in ISO situations and generating just 0.79 points per isolation possession. Poole's assertiveness would also go a long way, since drawing more fouls would lead him to more free throw opportunities, serving him well because he's one of the best free throw shooters in the entire league. He went from 3.5 attempts to 5.1 free throw attempts a game from the 2022 to 2023 seasons, but his attempts plummeted back to just 3 attempts a game this season. Poole has had a ton of lowlights this season as well, looking disinterested in Coach Wes Unseld Jr. drawing a play during a timeout, thinking the game clock would completely stop if the ball was inbounded just because he didn't touch it, and inexplicably inbounding the ball to Jamal Murray here against the Denver Nuggets. The razzle-dazzle display he pulled off in Golden State was admirable because of the confidence and shot-making ability he was displaying at the time. But even then, we saw instances where he had tunnel vision that ticked off members of his team. Now, it's crossing over to borderline arrogance because he has no business taking some of these shot attempts. Of course, he is insanely talented of a player, but in a new situation, especially when you're struggling, you are inclined to play within the flow of the offense, especially when all you have to do is make this simple read, like making the pass to the open corner 3 shooter. Poole, a lot of the time, isn't reading what the defenses are giving him, often premeditating his next moves and forcing himself into a terrible shot or unforced turnover. Interwoven in this are the shot selection concerns that rear their ugly heads game in and game out. And you now have a situation where Poole can operate as a ball stopper who isn't a great decision maker, who also is averaging 2.2 turnovers a game to just 3.6 assists. Finally, we have to talk about his mental, because that's just as important as what we discussed already. In Golden State, Poole really made strides as a player with a strong work ethic, who was fortunate enough to spend time with Hall of Famers under the umbrella of a first-class organization. But after Draymond's punch and endless questions, coverage, and memes surrounding the matter, there was going to be an awkwardness about them and an unsettling with Poole himself. It's not easy to bounce back from the negative exposure and discourse of those leaked clips, and matters only become worse since people will cite the punch as to why he's not in Golden State right now. Now, he's off a perennial title contender and going off to play for a sufficiently less talented Wizards squad that isn't contending anytime soon. Poole even said himself that he's still adjusting to the new Washington Wizards situation, and all these factors mentioned prior practically explain his struggles right now. The situation has even gone to the point where Poole has recently been benched on a sub-10 win Washington Wizards squad that hopes to hold on to something as the season winds down. But while Poole wasn't pleased by this decision, he claimed that he'd go out there and prove his value. Pretty much the right mentality you need in this situation. Overall, Jordan Poole hasn't seen his best form in Washington and isn't the player we knew him to be over the years. However, these struggles are understandable given the change in scenery and the adjustments he now has to make as a more featured option. You'll need to clean up his shot selection and decision making to make that next step, give effort on defense, and improve as a playmaker. But at just 24 years of age, he has the time and a non-contending situation that can wait for him. With that being said, what are your thoughts on Jordan Poole and his struggles in Washington thus far? Are the criticisms of his play too harsh, or do you think he just isn't the number one option people envisioned in the first place? Also, let me know whether you feel Jordan Poole can return to form towards the end of the season or in the future. Be sure to leave a like on the video, as each like makes a tremendous difference for the channel, and be sure to sub to the channel for even more content like this. Hope to see you all in the next one, and stay